A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kanti Shah, and I head the India business for Strategic. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all to Digital Dialogues. This season is sponsored by Dell Technologies and Tech Data, presented by Strategic. Over the next 1.5 hours, we look forward to immensely valuable business and technology insights and high impact conversations. We appreciate you taking time off your busy schedules to join us today and would request you to address your questions to our speakers using the Q&A option on your screens. To kickstart today's session, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Ms. Parvati Jagannathan, Head of Business Value Velocity at Tech Data. Let's welcome Parvati.
Good morning and a warm welcome to you all. Hope all of you are doing well and you and your family are safe. I'm Parvati Jagannathan and I head the Value Velocity, which is nothing but the endpoint business for Tech Data India. As most of you would know, Tech Data has been in IT distribution for over 45 years, connecting the world with the power of technology through you. As the world's leading end-to-end technology distributor, we put singular focus on our customer needs and goals with the objective to be a true strategic partner. We pride ourselves in delivering the best-in-class solutions and services to our vendors and partners. Tech Data is proud to be partnering with Dell, providing VARs and resellers access to Dell technologies and bringing value in the digital transformation journey they undertake with Dell technologies. The ability to transform into an intelligent organization rests on the enterprises to harness the power of data from being a mere capital to a strategic business asset. Storage and compute solutions will be pivotal to this journey and critical for the growth and future success of that company. Do get in touch with your account manager from Tech Data for insights, solutions, and offerings that Dell Technologies can provide. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you very much, Parvati, for setting the ball rolling for the day. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move forward to our next segment, which is the Digital Dialogues, a discussion focused on intelligent enterprises of tomorrow, where we will hear insights on business and strategic value outcomes. Let's welcome Ms. Mansi Thapar, IT leader, Jaguar Group, and Mr. Amit Dhawan, CISO and DPO, Birlasoft. They are in a conversation moderated by Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan, Chief Research Officer, Strategic. Over to you, Arjun.
Hello and welcome. My name is Arjun Vishwanathan. And today I'm going to be in conversation with two very eminent folks from industry to talk about how the future of enterprises is going to be extremely coupled and very closely coupled, in fact, with the future of intelligence, thus giving organizations the ability to architect an enterprise that is nimble and intelligent, with the ability to power innovation and accelerate time to market. Foundational to this is, of course, the ability for industry to create, store, and compute in perhaps near real time, thus catalyzing data from being capital to a more strategic business asset. And to join me in conversation, please put your hands together in no specific order for Mansi Thapar, IT leader and global head infosector at Jaguar Group. Mansi, welcome. We are delighted that you could join us.
Thank you, Arjun. It's my pleasure.
And Amit Dhawan, Chief Information Security and Data Protection Officer, Birlasoft. Amit, welcome. Equally delighted, sir.
Thank you, Arjun. Always a pleasure.
And we've got a fantastic and a fascinating set of 30 minutes ahead of us. And perhaps, Mansi, if I could come to you. This whole concept of digital transformation that's been touted over the last 5 years now, somewhere seems to have evolved to a more mature level of thinking or thought process, where transformation truly and perhaps ends up meaning modernizing of business by itself. But it's equally true that when you look at modernizing business, data and intelligence become critical. In that perspective, how do you see organizations evolving in this journey to become intelligent organizations of the future while leveraging the vast and copious amounts of data that they have at their disposal. Mansi Thapa.
Yeah, Arjun, I think you have very well put it. Today's business success depends on both your ability to deliver product or services, as well as the ability to create the digital infrastructure to support that business. Think about it, like failures in your digital infrastructure result in disruptions to your business. And now with everything being so digital, at the same time, businesses continue to generate more data, right, than ever before, and must be able to, evolve this data management to get the information they need for the competitive advantage in this modern technology savvy world. AI and ML are the buzzword which we are looking at. We can't, now manually work on it. I feel that, for this digital transformation where data is concerned, intelligent storage with the ability of AI and ML built into it can transform this digital, data management, boost productivity wherever, leverage, if it is leveraged correctly, I would say. But yes, having said that, we need to understand that organizations always knew the importance of data. But yes, because it is increasing multifold, they are struggling now to, how to efficiently use it and get it at the right time. So that also I feel that, having a good modern infrastructure will really help to support the digitalization.
No, that's interesting because Amit, I'm bringing that indeed back to you, which is Mansi mentioned the whole concept of, intelligence embedded infrastructure. Because really, humanly, there's only so much that is possible. How do you see the evolution of data and intelligent infrastructure coming together versus how traditionally things used to be looked at? And how do you see this evolution happening?
So there are different ways that I can approach this question. So let me see what comes up first in my mind, and we can connect the dots at the end. So the first is the quantum of data. Every human being today is producing about 1.7 megabytes of data per second. Uh, Whoever has a smartphone, whoever has an office computer, something like this on social media, that comes out to approximately 45, 60, 50 zettabytes of data that gets generated. And on top of that, you have your IoT devices, you have the devices which themselves are creating data. I'll not specifically say IoT, but devices which are creating data. That equally comes to around 79, 80 zettabytes of data. Now, link it, just detach this, but link it separately to the model of machine learning or artificial intelligence or something like that. So what happened in the last about 15, 20 years is that all this data is being put together and value is getting generated out. One of the basic tenets of machine learning is that, as humans, we define questions and then go to the data. AIML changes this completely. It says, give the data and I'll throw the problems back to you, or I'll throw the answers back to you. So typically, if you look at a very vague example I can give you is people are creating data lakes in organizations. So if I say, how many people who had joined in the month of February uh, are resigning on a Wednesday after serving 16 to 18 months, and what is the diversity ratio of that? What is the skill that they have picked up? So you can get all those answers. Okay. Uh, so there are some suggestions that you should book tickets only on Tuesday. Okay? Tuesday or a Wednesday. You'll get them cheapest. So it is analytics of the data which comes out. So huge amount of data, analytics. What it ultimately leads to is value for the business. I can provide certain services, but with this, if I can add more value, uh, my credibility, my trust in my vendor that I am, or customer that I am, servicing, it increases by leaps and bounds.
That's
So
very interesting. No,
so
that's very interesting, Amit, with your permission, because I'm going to bring that exactly. Mansi, Amit just spoke about, volumes of data, 45, 50, 55, 60 zettabytes. Increasingly, as organizations muddle through the vast amounts of data that they have, their ability to modernize will equally depend on their ability to store that data. Because while you're creating and producing and generating it, an equally important task today is storing it. In that manner or in that perspective, Mansi, how do you think that storage evolution needs to be viewed within Indian industry today for organizations to truly capture the potential the data offers?
Yeah, Arjun, I think very well put. See, data storage modernization is more impactful to the business than initially it meets the eye. That is what, I feel that in lot, I talk to a lot of people and they're not gathering that it is very important to modernize your data storage. A modern data infrastructure serves as a foundation for your organization, especially if you want to be, digitally, I would say, evolved. If you are digitally determined, I just read a white paper from IDC, which said that in next 2 years, the number of digitally determined organizations with a fully integrated enterprise-wide technology architecture will grow from 46% to 90%. So it's just a huge number. And this paper made me think about my storage in my organization, like, what I need to do about it. So this is what I feel that we need, that my business goals now need to be aligned with the storage infrastructure modernization. Everybody's talking about digitalization, cloud, and all these security, which is very important. Why? That is why Amit and me are sitting here. But at the same time, I think storage modernization is something which everyone now needs to look at, because it really gives you that leverage to now grow multifold where digitalization is concerned. Because as Amit said, the data is huge. Now, how to process that data quickly in a secure manner using AI ML technologies, and also flexibility. Like, my data is growing. I don't know from where the data will come. Now, traditional storage infrastructure, my business can slow down because might have to go and buy some storage because all of a sudden the data increased. But with these intelligent storage systems which are there and understanding the AML, as Amit said, they throw the answer to you that, I'm seeing that in next 3 months your storage requirement will be this, or this kind of things are happening in your storage, so please look after it. So that kind of predictive analysis is now required even in storage infrastructure as well.
That's fascinating because Amit, I'm going to bring something to you, which is something that you said and then Mansi built on it. And I'd like you to evolve that narrative to a slightly larger fashion for our wonderful audience today to be able to, view it more comprehensively, which is the whole concept of digitalization and digital infrastructure. Now, when you look at digital infrastructure, Amit, in your view, why does storage become one of the very foundational pillars? Because I've heard you articulate it quite a few times. Uh, in such fashion that organizations are able to approach the journey in a more holistic, wholesome fashion.
So I'll go back to the history of databases. Okay. So the historically the databases were created uh, for questions to be given to them, and then the database was designed, and then you would run your SQL queries and fetch that data. Uh, that thing has changed with the new trends of NoSQL, etc., etc. Now, you throw the whole chunk into a database, still a database, but not an RDBMS, but a NoSQL database. Now, suppose, for example, I'm searching on Amazon, and there is a superset of data called televisions. Now, if I want to say, okay, I want a 32-inch plasma something. Pardon my lack of knowledge in this direction, but I don't know whether plasma is still in vogue or not. But just an example. Uh, so, what would a traditional database do is it will pick up, create an SQL query, go to the same database, go to table spaces, pick up that. So those concepts are old with the newer concepts of how databases are created. What it does is it automatically creates everything that you need for a plasma TV into another table. So there is whole amount of duplication of data. So the earlier concepts of removing duplicacy, normalization, etc., are all out of the window. These concepts are also not new. They're almost about 10 years old, but you are seeing their effectiveness today when you start searching on Amazon or you start searching on Myntra or whatever apps, and you just search something and the whole world opens in front of you. So that increases the requirement of storage. That increases the requirement of reliability of storage. So this is linked with the digital transformation that you're looking at. My new technology or my new infrastructure should be able to store any new kind of conditions that I want to create, okay, in a separate place, and there'll be huge amount of duplication. And second is it should be available readily to me. Just imagine the latency on my phone to my router to an internet gateway to their server. I don't know where it is, but it comes, in milliseconds to you. So, the response time of the database, uh, I think they give you the data before you even ask for it. So, so you're looking at that kind of digital transformation where reliability is high. Uh, your fetch time is very very low, and correctness of data and linking, etc. So everything is connected from the front end to your databases, and that is the level of infrastructure improvement that we are going in. So that is what is required in future, probably even more.
Interesting, because Mansi, then I come to you with the whole concepts of we fairly between Amit and you, I think you fairly established the fact that I think modernizing storage and digitalizing storage in its truest form is perhaps critical to success. But this, while this journey is fascinating by itself, it's equally a complex one. In your estimation and in your experience, how should organizations even approach the whole concept of building an architecture that has at its base layer intelligent storage embedded in its very fabric?
Yeah, so Arjun, first and foremost, I think beyond storage is one thing which everybody should look at. Everybody just thinks that storage is something, I've just kept it and there. So that mindset needs to go. That storage is something beyond that. Secondly, if you are looking at any modernization of storage, I would say try to build in AI. People feel that, AI is something for bots and digital assistants. But AI in storage and analytics, AI is becoming like not nice to have, but a business essential. That is what I feel. So that is something like, if you are in a journey of storage transformation, please see, evaluate storage strategies, which, and don't forget the AI into that mix. Third is that, yes, everybody is looking at performance, cost evaluation, scalability, as Amit and I have already put in. But always evaluate it with the analytics that will provide you and the faster analytics it will provide you. So the cost versus the analytics, which will be a weapon for the company, is very important to be evaluated for the companies. Sometimes they say, oh, it is a huge value, to just upgrade my storage to modernization. And I think I'll manage the scalability. I don't want this, or I'll manage the security. But what about analytics? The faster analytics, the real time analytics, which the storage, the faster modernization of storage will give you, is going to take your business multifold. So those kind of mindsets are required if you are into that digital transformation journey.
Interesting. Amit, I'm coming to you now. Mansi very nicely articulated the whole concept of analytics. See, one of the if most organizations were to take a step back, uh, and if one were to query them on what and how they see themselves in the future, one of the things that they'll certainly, a few of the things that they'll certainly say are their ability to build scale, to power innovation in much faster method, to be able to power agility, and last but not the least, obviously, build in infuse intelligence into the very fabric. Now, all of this, and I'm bringing the same question back to you: is a journey that has to be very judiciously and cautiously, perhaps, approached. In your view, what is and your essential guidance to organizations on approaching this journey?
I think this question is same as when we look at, and when you started, it is same as what you started with, that how do we define storage with business. So it again depends on what you're trying to store. What is the business requirement? If I'm taking a backup of my laptop, I don't need that kind of speed, agility. I can still go in with lower end of the storage mechanism. However, if I want to permanently work from a storage, this is where actually the world is moving to. Uh, you know, uh, the machines are going to be browser based only. Browsers are becoming more powerful. The machines will be browser based. No local storage. You'll be connected to the cloud and you'll be working on the cloud. So, your virtual machines being on the cloud or your actual stuff. As of now, if you look at it in Office 365, you don't need to have a local storage. Everything works through the browser. Everything is available on the browser. Storage, there is OneDrive. So again, it depends on the business value of what you're trying to store. So if you're trying to store backups of the laptops, maybe a lower end thing will do. You don't need that agility. But if you're looking to serve customers with e-commerce portals, you need high agility, you need high reliability. If you're working with banking things, again, you need a huge amount of reliability because uh, transactions, latency, it is replication of transactions between different locations. You go back to your old concepts of recovery points, etc. Uh, Hackers have been taking advantage of those kind of activities earlier, but no more. But those are the areas that you need to define how you're storing your data, what you're storing, where you're storing. It's a business requirement which will define what you need to store and how you need to manage that. I hope I'm making sense to your question.
No, absolutely. Because Mansi, I'm coming to you, is when you look at organizations today, and in the previous segment, we just heard some industry folks speak about how business revival, resurgence, acceleration are of critical value. When, if you take the backdrop of the last 15, 16 months, where a pandemic led disruption has come up, we realize somewhere that innovation in a crisis is perhaps more important than ever. If you were to take a step back, how do you see this entire evolution of industrial resurgence and revival with innovation at its very core?
Yeah, so I think everybody knows that pandemic has really, accelerated this digital transformation 15 years. Like our projects, which were, slowed down and they were like not given any importance. Everybody has, given that importance to us. But yes, having said that, we see like digital transformation. We see so many startups coming in, right? For people working from home and now starting up with different startups and things like that. So I think digital transformation is like has taken a multi, or I don't know how to put it, but it is like even my daughter wants to do a startup and sitting at home. So that is what digitalization has done to us. But yes, at the same time, the companies which were not modern enough, who were not there, who have not planned their digital journey properly, struggled also in this pandemic. So I would say that people who were on the cloud, they were better. People who had their VPNs and their work from anywhere concepts already there, they were someone who worked well, rather than people who were sitting in office with their desktops. So this is what storage is also where I see modernization of storage. Now it's the time to do that, because if you don't do it next 5 years, you will be again in a situation, even if the pandemic is not there, but the businesses will be in a situation where they will feel that something is missing. Things are not being faster because technology has moved so much that if you don't modernize your base, your things will drop. So that is what I really feel, that this is how you need to look at your storage, that you have to look at your analytics, that this is how the pandemic supported the people who were thinking of cloud, who were thinking of security. Now I think in next 5 years it is the storage. That is how we really need to look at.
Interesting. Amit, I come to you with the same thing, and a question perhaps is, in your view and in your articulation, would you be able to lend perspective to the following statement? Is that business modernization somewhere lies in the ability for organizations to start building a digitally native mindset?
Yes. Uh,
Very
I
considered.
would no no I would agree to that statement because uh, moving to a direction where you need inputs, uh, relevant inputs, faster inputs, and the right inputs to survive in the market and to service your customers better. You need to you don't have to buy servers or some things like this. You need to understand how technology or how digital transformation can help you. So you'll have to maybe listen to a lot of people, uh, ask a lot of questions as to what would solve their problems or what would solve them coming out of the issue. Uh, when they have a think or a thought process that will digital help them. So that's a very interesting thing, and I think uh, COVID just has increased the speed, as Mansi mentioned. However, even where people or industries which are not impacted, they've realized the benefits out of this. There are a lot of improvements happened in the direction, not necessarily storage, but other directions happened which were not linked with COVID, but linked to COVID. There have been huge amount of developments.
Indeed, sir.
So people are slowly realizing the potential, even for companies like us, IT services companies. we are starting to think ahead as to how it can help us. So uh, from a security standpoint, what can help me in preventing data theft or data loss when people are working at home? So you know, uh, can if the screen sees two heads, can the screen blacken? If the screen sees a image of a phone coming in, can it become blank? Can I, when I'm logged into my office, uh, can I shut down my camera? Okay, if I've done a MFA, can I shut down my camera till the time I maybe close it and not do an MFA, or do a reverse MFA of shutting down my system, and only then the camera becomes enabled. So some things around this are going on in the market. So yes, the value of digital transformation is being realized by a lot of companies who were apprehensive earlier, and they are moving in this direction. And the transformation is really helping a lot of people. It might be a transient state where there is a lot of confusion as to, people are not able to assemble the data that comes out of such transformation. Uh, but people are changing and listening and learning new things. So yes, there is a lot of change, not because of COVID, but COVID actually has been uh, it
Perhaps
has
acted as a
given
natural
benefits.
catalyst.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It brings me, Mansi, to a very important point. By virtue of the vast, copious amounts of data that organizations have at their disposal, and therefore the necessary mandate to store it intelligently, does that act as a perhaps, and I'm going to repeat that term, does it act as a natural catalyst for organizations to equally look at security from a vastly differentiated manner?
Yeah, I think Arjun it does because now I would say that if you were looking at an on-prem security, everybody was working on that, and my data was also residing there. Now with people going on the cloud, now I working in a hybrid environment where I don't have any control on my data because there are a lot of SaaS applications being used. There are a lot of shadow IT. Now my company, like I'll give you an example, diversified into a very large scale lighting. They were already there, but now the business has grown from 2,000 crores in a year, and there are IoT servers, and there might be some servers in China, some servers in Singapore, and I don't know where the data is because they are just leveraging it with shadow IT. So security has just taken a new dimension for all of us. It's not COVID; it's because it's the digitalization which has happened, and the data being churned out. Now my customer care is generating so much of data. My ERP is now going on the cloud. That is why I was like not able to attend our session earlier. So this is what the kind of data is, and we don't have control on the data because it's residing on somebody else's data or somebody else's cloud. So
Indeed.
yes, the security is like we have just I think it is, that is why I feel that it has been just 5 years I've entered security. But even if I don't have that previous experience, it is all together a different ball game now. So it is very different, and you need AI ML to fight this security problem which we have where the data is concerned.
No, I couldn't agree more because Amit, I'm bringing you the same question, which is have security paradigms and traditional concepts, or even evolving concepts, have they changed dramatically? Now the data and well, intelligent storage, which could either be on-prem or on the cloud, be that as it were, has it lent vastly different proportions to the overall approach to security?
Conceptually, no, but practically, yes, because conceptually, you go back to protect your data wherever it is hosted. Traditionally, we only had limited locations where it was placed. You would put some controls around it, and you were happy with it. But intelligent storage solutions, that changes a lot of things. There are new places where the data gets created, maybe for 5 minutes and then gets deleted. There is huge amount of movement of data. There is huge amount of replication which is involved. So, for example, I create databases in an auto scaling mode. So if the load increases, I create a new application on the fly. I create a new database on the fly. If one database gets corrupted for some reason, I immediately create another replica at another place. But this is my preferred location. So in case this location comes back in, I delete the data from there. I move back here. So, uh, for continuing the business and to add those business values, the data is being stored and moved at a different pace than it ever was, and that brings in, you have to carry controls along with it. So as you know, in a static model, okay, it is stored here, I'll do this. You'll have to build in controls along with the movement of data, along with creation of those databases, creation of those workloads that I'm creating on the cloud. Uh, there are you don't have to create databases on the cloud anymore. Uh, you can just throw your data and it will give you the result. You can do your analysis without creating databases, but you're sharing the data with them. So those whole things are changing the way you are looking at security for new data or added on data. So it's a different tricky thing. Not that it is out of control, but it is something that needs to be monitored. Most of the data leaks that you hear on the cloud these days are primarily for this kind of uncontrolled data. Very few people are hacking into databases. Few, not zero, few, but they are picking up instances of data lying unprotected at different place where people have kept it for some time and forgotten about.
That's actually very, very beautifully articulated, Mansi and Amit. But I do have a view on the clock. Mansi, a 30-second answer from you. As you look towards intelligent storage, one business metric that you think, if the intelligent storage, intelligent and secure storage, were to be judiciously and prudently orchestrated within an organization, one business metric that you think could be very, very positively influenced.
Yeah, so I really feel that, simplified data management, hybrid environment, and increased security. These three are something which really, add value where storage is concerned, which is modernized. So this is what I really, pitch in as a business case to my company, that this is what we should look at.
No, that's actually very beautifully articulated, and I really like what you said. But Amit, similarly, one business metric where you think the needle is going to be pushed or accelerated in a positive fashion by orchestrating intelligent, secure storage.
I think there is not one answer that I can give. So maybe I'll just echo what Mansi said, and that makes sense. But knowing how it is going to move, preempting that, and proactive actions around that, and maybe uh, automating controls before it gets created. I think that is what you can look at. Uh, so
No, that actually works, and I think it has been nothing short of a delight just understanding how organizations should be approaching this very fascinating journey of being able to accelerate value for themselves. But Mansi, Amit, as usual and as always, a privilege to have been in dialogue with you. Thank you so much for your time and participation, please.
thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you,
Thank
Amit.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was I, Arjun Vishwanathan, your host, in conversation with Mansi Thapar and Amit Dhawan. We'll be back with the next segment in just a moment. Stay tuned, and we'll be back in a jiffy.
Thank you very much, Mansi, Amit, and Arjun, for that thought provoking and engaging discussion. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move forward to the next segment, which is Strategy in Motion, a discussion around making Industry 4.0 real with the use of technology. On this session, we have inputs by Mr. Sushil Mukherjee, SPS Director, Enterprise Northwest and Global Inbound for Dell Technologies, Mr. Amit Sheth, Founder and CEO, Team One Consulting Private Limited, and our moderator for the session is Mr. Shantanu Ganguly, Chief Executive Officer, Strategy. I'd now like to hand it over to Shantanu.
Hello everyone, this is Shantanu Ganguly, CEO at Strategic, and today in this segment of Digital Dialogues and the segment name being Strategy in Motion, I am delighted to welcome two very distinguished and eminent experts in conversation with me. Firstly, Amit Seth, founder and CEO at Team One Consulting. Welcome, Amit, to this segment, Strategy in Motion.
Thanks a lot, Shantanu.
And from Dell Technologies, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Sushim Mukherjee, Storage Platform and Solutions Director. And welcome, Sushim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shant.
So, in this very interesting conversation we plan to have today, maybe I'll first start with Sushim, and the focus and theme of today's digital dialogues being predominantly storage and the future of data and storage technology solutions, that space and theme. I would love to start with Sushim by asking that, Sushim, with proliferation of hybrid multi-cloud as a consumption model all across, and especially with the pandemic disruption and the thrust in digitalization, there is a significant uptake in cloud adoption overall in diverse formats, be it private, be it hybrid, be it public. So in context of that, when it comes to data storage solutions, how has Dell approached this overall, both for customers as well as maybe internally?
I'm glad you bring this up, Shantanu. Given our own massive scale of operations, which is kind of supporting 145,000 users, about 78,000 VMs, which is spread across 22 data centers and spanning 2,800 plus applications, we firmly believe that it's all about the three pillars of people, process, and technology. A multi-cloud approach that drives app modernization, which we see panning on a continuum of about six elements, which are spread across, so to say, two buckets. A is of your existing workloads, and B is your cloud native workloads, right? So in bucket one, from an existing workload environment, it meant we needed to decide on which of those applications we really need to a maintain, which involves keeping an app in an existing environment. The second is, how do I re-platform, right? Which involves keeping an app as is, but moving it to a new environment. And the third element in this is adopt a multi-tier hybrid environment, which essentially shifts portions of these multi-tier app to the public cloud, right? So here the intent was to reduce the cost, enhance security, yet maintain reliability and control on the data consistency part of it, which is the key factor for us, right? Now, from the second bucket, which is what we are all gearing up towards, right, is to how do I look at the cloud native workload environments? It meant we needed to decide on which of those applications we needed to one refactor, which includes modifying an app and or a new environment for deployment on an on-prem or in the cloud, right? The second was how do I develop for cloud, which includes a new cloud native app that is containerized and deployed on an on-prem and also as an infrastructure as a service mode, right? And finally, how do I replace, right? This means involves moving to a completely software as a service version of a packaged app, like we kind of all know how we have been moving from an exchange to an O365 for an example, right? So here the intent was to fasten the time to market, leverage our continuous innovations from our fantastic in-house engineering labs, and yet maintain the scale and differentiation depending on the landing zones that are most appropriate for these aforementioned workloads. And obviously, leverage our entire spectrum of the industry's deepest and the widest infrastructure portfolio to really achieve this, right? Now, while this is a continuous improvement program, what we really did achieve till date was to have about 500 plus applications migrated to a private cloud. And in the process, we have kind of retired 200 plus older legacy applications. With regards to the three pillars which I mentioned, effectively from a technology perspective, we could enhance self-service capabilities with about 10 to 30% of higher utilization rates. From a process standpoint, we had about 30% reduction in our user incidents. And from obviously the most important people impact, we had our internal IT pulse scores really hitting all-time highs, right? So while we at Dell Technologies propagate this approach with all our customers, we do kind of eat our own dog food, and only then start encouraging you as customers to take this path of digitization and modernization. But be rest assured, it is always at the pace at which the customer's business demands, and we are always cognizant of that aspect when we get into these dialogues with customers.
So that's very interesting. Thank you, Sushim, for bringing that out, the scale, the magnitude, and the global diversity, and I would say the mammoth sheer volumes involved here is phenomenal, and the way Dell sort of has implemented it and sort of continues to evolve this, and then apply some of these very rich learning overall from people process technology standpoint into its customer facing initiatives. That's I'm sure is truly valuable. Coming to the point around customers, and shifting the spotlight from the solution side to customers this time. Amit, if I may request you, because you and your team has been engaging with customers around multiple, say, infrastructure, data center modernization projects. So in that context, and when it comes to data storage solutions and that ecosystem of infrastructure, what do you see as some of the new expectations or changing priorities that you see with your customers?
The client in the marketplace right now, after the digital disruption that has taken place in last 1.5 2 years, we see that there is a clear trend and adoption of hybrid cloud technology, and the client needs a storage system which should seamlessly integrate with the cloud. And so, especially with the hyperscale cloud, with the likes of AWS, Azure, and Google, and so the storage system that is there in the demand should be compatible with all these cloud platforms. And secondly, the cloud native applications are there in the market. Almost everywhere we see such vendors who are giving cloud ready application. So it should be compatible with those cloud ready applications. And third, I can say that the client is looking for a faster um, interconnect wherein they can improve their performance, they can reduce their cost. So, because of the bulk of data that is coming because of AI and many, if I talk about some industry verticals, maybe like pharma or maybe like PPA, that we have some clients and some oil and gas industry. So they are looking for a AI based application. So the amount of data is huge. So they are looking for a faster performance at a lower cost. So that is there. And if I can say that the client are also looking for storage that should help them fight the ransomware, and because the ransomware attack is very prevalent in the market, and in case they are being attacked, and the recovery should be fast. So those are few of the things that I see in the market when it comes to the storage landscape and the expectation of the client from a storage vendor.
Awesome. I think Amit very aptly put. So I will just summarize and move on this from here to next point to Sushim. So storage supporting multi-cloud platforms, diverse application types, then overall agility takes care of performance, speed, flexibility, etc. Fourth is around data privacy, security, ransomware resilience, and last but not the least, uh, cost efficiency, right? Overall cost efficiency to make sure, because increasing capacity and all that is growing exponentially. So still costs need to remain in control. So with these as client expectations, and which is continuously evolving and getting enhanced over a period of time. Sushil, I come to you with the I would say storage solution capability enhancement point, and in that context, the investments, the leverage that Dell Technologies is doing in around artificial intelligence. So, say leveraging AI to unlock the value of data, unlock hidden insights as much efficiently, as much fast, and as much at lower cost. So, what is Dell Technology uniquely offering to their clients around the leverage of AI across their storage ecosystem?
Sure, Shantanu. And as an example, let me relate to an industry which Amit also just referred to, right? The healthcare industry, right? Now, regardless of a healthcare organization's initial strategy, the investments in the underlying technology and infrastructure that need to support the next generation of computational storage and communication capabilities, it requires to meet these growing demands of collecting, analyzing, and then securing this healthcare IoT data. Right, that's the crux of this. Now, moving to a multi-cloud operational framework will be integral to the digital health transformations success that starts not only with just technology but with the health mission and cross-functional collaboration across a broad spectrum of stakeholders, which includes their business, technical, operational, and the financial elements. Right, these are the four typical elements which we really look around. Now, healthcare organizations will want to consider data flow from right from the acquisition point to the action. Right, multi-cloud services that can help IT organization meet these demands for easier access and more sophisticated uses of data while ensuring that the privacy and security is maintained at all times, right? So with these use cases in mind, Dell Technologies had redefined the storage industry with the release of their next generation storage platform, uh, popularly now very clearly known by the industry as PowerStore, right? Let me just do a quick 3 by 3 summary of this platform, right? Now, what does the PowerStore platform, how can we really explain this is with the three pillars of it being data centric, intelligent, and adaptable, right? Now, why do I call the platform as data center? What we can really do is consolidate any workload from a unified standpoint, whether it is block, file, or virtual volumes. We scale up adding capacity and we scale out by adding controllers. This is kind of designed for the 6 nines of availability or better with active end-to-end NVMe controllers, that is the next generation media, including solid state drives and storage class memory. This platform is capable of addressing performance asks which are emanating from not only your traditional workloads but also these new age application environments. Even compared to my own previous generation storage platform, this is like 7 times faster with 3 times lesser latency. And thirdly, we deliver all of this with the most efficient, effective capacity envelope which is due to the quick access technology hardware controller, which we build, which is inbuilt into the controllers. We do not really need to worry about impacting the production IOs, and yet do an inline data reduction with intelligent dedupe and compression, thereby delivering a 4:1 data reduction ratio guarantee to the customers. Right. I really urge all customers on the show today to really take advantage of this DRR ratio in your upcoming capacity considerations, which allows you to optimize your storage infrastructure that is better, right? The second pillar is the power store is intelligent, right? It's programmable or it is API enabled. We can automate many of these storage provisioning processes that we have been used to. This allows us to deploy the system with far fewer manual steps and less risk, thereby allowing the customer to deploy the resources in seconds compared to what really used to take days at times, right? This platform is very much autonomous, which means it allows the discovery of new application appliances automatically to a cluster via the machine learning algorithm which is integrated into the OS platform. It ensures that we get the most utilization out of this platform, thereby taking 99% less time administrating a power store appliance compared to most competitive offerings, right? With native integration into Cloud IQ, we can then do proactive health analytics to help users reduce the risk and plan ahead. The inbuilt health scores that could be accessed even on your smartphone as an app provides a very comprehensive system snapshot by evaluating operational status, available storage, and give you the performance alerts all through a very single plane of glass to really view at this, right? So we believe that you can really spot issues 16 times faster than the comparative platforms, which really do not have this kind of capability. And lastly, the third platform is, this platform is really adaptive, right? We ensure that the data migrations to get to this platform are very much automated, simple, and very seamless to do. We then package it with flexible consumption models like Dell Tech on Demand as a service, or a pay-per-use with our Flex on Demand offering. I'll elaborate a little later again. It is also the backend of the industry's strongest and most complete future-proof program that ensures you to seamlessly keep modernizing this infra without having to really do those forklift upgrades every now and then. But what I'm really excited about this technology and is its flexible architecture and a unique flexible deployment methodology. Right? Let me just explain this. The beauty of this new PowerStore operating system is that this being an absolute grounds up container built technology, it introduces a very unique concept of an apps on hypervisor deployment methodology that allows the ESXi to run very directly onto the storage controllers, thus making it very ideal for those data intensive, demanding workload environments, right? So from healthcare perspective, if you begin at the edge locations, thinking of your regional medical centers, remote manufacturing facilities, you can then do some very innovative things right at the edge. You can run analytics locally on different types of data like RFID tracking, medical telemetry, performance statistics and surveillance concepts, to name a few of the use cases which is pertinent in this industry, and yet end up saving about 70% of the rack space in these remote locations, right? Now, it doesn't stop there. We could then extend this to the core data center by doing a native data replication from the edge to the core. Once inside the data center, we could then move those data sets to environments that does now need very scalable compute, like you have a 2 HCI solution and leverage technologies like VMware Cloud Foundation, or even your existing 3-tier architectures, which is spread across a ESXi form and a core storage environments, which creates those workload domains and landing zones, thereby giving the customers a full automation workflow and allowing them to pick and choose where their application needs to live at the time they need to in a very absolutely non-disruptive manner, right? Now, because of the ASXi integration, which is via the apps on feature functionality I talked about, it also eventually extends this to the public cloud, right, of your choice. So in the true sense, you're kind of accomplishing an edge to a core to a multi-cloud journey in a very, very seamless manner, right? We obviously then complement the solutions with our enterprise file level file workload solutions around power scale architectures for your unstructured data sets, and also ensure that you have optimum data protection while we go along this with our award-winning Dell Power Protect solutions as well. So I kind of wanted to give you a summary of how our own technologies are very pertinent to bring in these elements of artificial intelligence, which we have integrated into these platforms, and gives you tremendous scalability and flexibility to the customers at large.
Awesome. I think Sushim, to summarize this, I would say Power Store is truly power packed, and that's a lot of, I would say, contemporary and future looking capabilities packaged together here. So coming back to you, Amit, and again switching a bit onto the diverse customers, the diverse industry verticals that you engage with, and Sushim briefly mentioned about the diverse nature of data, right? So there is object storage, there is file storage, there is block storage, and if you go by verticals, say BFSI is more transactional data, real-time settlements, transactions happening. Manufacturing, you see more of device data, edge data. Healthcare, you just gave example. Healthcare has a lot of instances of unstructured data, images and healthcare records, all that. And if you look at retail, e-commerce, they have real time, again, transactional inventory, all those data that needs to be processed, that needs to be sort of sought insights from. And lastly, almost every industry vertical would also have requirements around their backup, their archival, etc., which is long-term retention and resilience and regulatory compliance. So, do you have, say, diverse needs? Do you see that's coming from different industry vertical clients of yours and around storage?
Yeah, definitely, Shantanu. So, when we talk about particularly about Delhi NCR region, the North region where we primarily operate, so this is full of manufacturing plants. So, when we talk about manufacturing plants, we are seeing that the major requirement over there is like block storage. So their ERP solution, so they're running their primary data center on premise, and they're creating DR. So major requirement in the manufacturing domain we observe is for block storage. And then when we talk about some other verticals like PSUs, Or in PSUs, we see that it is a mix of a block and a file. Most of the PSUs, they are moving to, they've realized the importance of software-defined storage, and we see that they are moving, most of them are moving to HCI. So when we talk about the big names like maybe NTPC, ONGC, IOCL and all, most of them, they're moving to the hyper-converged infrastructure, the software-defined infrastructure. And so over there, file storage is also required. And when we talk about some of the big telecom players and the media players over there, again it is similar, like block storage, file storage with high performance is needed by them. uh, we have seen a lot of engagements ourselves in that particular vertical. And when we talk about other government clients, so block storage is normally over there what they're using, apart from PSUs, when we talk about the government clients. And especially in one vertical, say for example, BFSI, the application modernization has yet not happened, and it is in the process right now, BFSI. So they are staying still on the block storage. Uh, there is something special that I've observed in the fintech. Fintech over there in Delhi NCR, most of them, as we see, majorly they are eyeing for a cloud storage, and even if they have something on premise, so they are actually looking for a hyperscaler type of environment in storage, or otherwise they are majorly using the cloud storage. So this is some of the industry vertical trends that we have observed ourselves.
Excellent. Thank you, Amit. I think that I would say a little different, unique requirements across different verticals. And I take a clue around software-defined storage, and I'll come back to Sushim on this. So, Sushim, there is a lot of new intelligence that's getting embedded into storage solutions, leveraging software, and that's the, I would say, area of innovation and future development across all areas of technology. So, can you explain Dell's approach around software-defined storage?
Well, Shantanu, yes, this is a very high focus area for us due to the increasing use cases that we see, especially in the ITITS and now, even in the BFSI space. Uh, as Dell Technologies, kind of, we play a very active role in the world of software product companies in their journey of automation and extreme data management, emanating from a plethora of, these new age application refactoring initiatives that they undertake, and that need to be kind of classified into the correct type of workloads, right? That is the key out there. Now, for achieving this, we have leveraged another area of our technology, which is a truly software-defined foundation of our modern data center. We call it the PowerFlex architecture, right? To address key enterprise workloads, from databases like Oracle, SQL, to applications like SAP HANA and analytic platforms like Splunk, SAS, and Elastic. The PowerFlex architecture delivers a kind of lightning performance and better operational outcomes across these platforms, right? Also, to address cloud automation and container management tools, one can utilize a broad set of tools for PowerFlex, including OpenShift, Rancher Kubernetes, VMware Cloud Foundation, and Google Anthos. Right now, let me enumerate with an example of a reputed contact center automation company who are seeing a very rapid growth of their new age applications, cloud-based and new service offerings in their new contact center business. Right, this meant that they needed an assured performance in a write intensive, elastic environment that could scale quite linearly. That too with the flexibility to scale either the compute or the storage in a multi hypervisor operating system landscape, right? So the use case that we saw here were in three areas. One, looking at high performance applications. Second is their databases, and third was the data center consolidation around and have an agile private cloud in the process, right? In a lighter vein, kind of, we call the PowerFlex as the workload Pac-Man, the game we used to play long back, that can gobble up, workloads and ensure that it provides benefits that are from best of both worlds, whether it is in a three-tier architecture or a classical HCI environment. Now, from a three-tier perspective, you're looking to manage disaggregated independent scaling of compute and storage. The second you're looking at is heterogeneous support for both the physical and the virtual workloads. If you look at the other side of the spectrum, which is the HCI perspective, you're looking at how to manage the simplicity of a scale-out node-based architecture. How do I really look at automation of the lifecycle management which is there around this, and all of this quite seamlessly managed with our orchestration layer of PowerFlex Manager, which does then allows us to meet uh, all these key five asks which come out from this infrastructure. Five key asks which we really look at is one is the massive IO parallelism that eliminates the performance bottlenecks with the throughput ask. We're looking at automatic rebuilds and rebalancing of the resources. We're looking at how do I do a workload isolation with multiple protection domains in a very predictable manner. And most essentially, what these environments really require is scaling from a very modest size, say as small as 4 nodes going up to thousands of nodes. And how do I then support an open standard, including the Kubernetes CSI, right? So a PowerFlex architecture really gives you the scale of transactions, which is in a real life benchmark environments, and massive performance which is there. So highest performance with lowest latency, that is what is delivered for every workload associated with the PowerFlex architecture.
Excellent. Truly interesting. I have an eye on the clock, so with that, maybe Amit, I'll come to you for the last thought I have. So today's digital dialogues is in partnership with Tech Data, Dell Technologies, and Team One Consulting. So how this trio, Team One Consulting, Tech Data, and Dell Technologies, you think bring unique value for customer? Maybe top 3 points around the unique value.
So Shantanu, as you have heard that he has been talking about the storage portfolio of Dell, and as we see in the market that major shift that has happened, that like, the storage system should integrate to the cloud, and then it should give a higher performance at a low price, and then the storage system has to be software defined, and all these qualities. And additionally, one thing that more I would like to highlight is that Dell has also been offering storage as a service. So that has the benefit of on-premise storage with the performance of on-premise storage at economies of cloud storage. So these features they help us as a system integrator in the market to fulfill the requirement of our client. And with a partner like Dell, such a strong portfolio who has been investing in the innovation and the current market trends and the need of the client, coupled with the support of Tech Data. So we bring value to the table, we fulfill the need of the client, and we emerge as a good system integrator who is solving the problem for the client. So we value our partnership, and we see that this goes a long way, and we keep on giving the right solution to our clients. So that is there from the trio that you spoke about.
Excellent. So I think brand trust overall combining unique solution from Dell Technologies and of course support services from Tech Data and Team One Consulting combined. That's what evolves into unique brand trust for customers from this trial. Thanks, Amit. Coming back to Sushim on my last point, which is on, you see, storage with increased adoption of digital technologies, which is going to only grow and become exponential further. There is explosion of data, and businesses typically used to do advanced capacity planning and forward investments to procure in advance in anticipation of future data growth. But over a period of time, people realize that this leads to at times underutilization, overspending, and that's how this whole concept of as a service or different consumption models came in, right? So uh, any last quick glimpse you want to give to our audience around Dell's offering or solution around consumption-based storage models?
Absolutely, Shantanu. Just to take a step back, when we look at the traditional IT models and how we are looking at going into the future with an as a service model. We are branding it as the project Apex, right? Now, what are the key essential elements which differentiate this, right? One is comparing your upfront investment and rather going into a pay as you go mode. You're looking at capex. How do I design it more from an opex perspective? You're looking at a very long lead delivery times. Here you can do it as quick as 14 days. You have extensive configuration requirements on the traditional IT side. Here you would have very pre-configured, defined outcomes, very clearly laid out. You are able to bring in a lot of predictability in the terms of growth which are there because you're trying to build in for extra demand and capacity into it, right? A traditional model was more hyperscaler, complexity involved within that. Here we are making it very much an on-premise offering for the customer. And more from a customer perspective, instead of having a very customer-driven lifecycle management where the customer is responsible for the upgrades, the patching, the end-of-life hardware monitoring, and all, this Dell Technologies driven lifecycle management brings in that very clear flexibility to do this. And the analysts all across have been kind of predicting how soon this is going to be coming upon us than what it was envisioned earlier. What we have done is on the outlook of the Apex projects, we have started already engaging with a lot of partners. Just like Amit mentioned, and there are offerings specifically around the data storage services, which can be already co-deployed with the partners. We call it the Apex Flex on Demand, which is our premier flexible consumption solution. It delivers elastic capacity on a pay-per-use experience across our entire infrastructure portfolio. And then customers can make few simple choices to get started, right? They select a product that best suits their environment, choose from our entire gamut of portfolio, and then define, how they want to approach it over a longer period of time, shorter period of time, and we define the levels of adoption of this and get started. But this is very much the roadmap going into the future. Apex is something which customers should really start looking out for going into the next year. Yeah.
Very interesting. I think together with our audience today, I personally look forward to rollout and launch of Project Apex in India sometime very soon. With that, to our audience, thank you for joining us in this session of Strategy in Motion. This was Sushim Mukherjee, SPS Director, Dell Technologies, and Amit Seth, Founder and CEO, Team One Consulting, together with me, Shantanu Ganguly, CEO at Strategy. It was pleasure conversing with you all, gentlemen. And to our audience, stay tuned for the next segment. Thanks for now. Good day.
Thanks a lot, Shantanu.
Thank you. Thanks, Shantanu. Thanks, Amit.
Wow, what a fantastic session. Thank you very much, Sushim, Amit, and Shantanu. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's a wrap. I hope you found this episode of the Digital Dialogues informative and useful. I would request you to please take a few moments of your time to fill in the feedback form. We would love to hear your suggestions, as this helps us enhance the content, structure, and delivery of our conferences. We thank you all once again for joining us today on behalf of Dell Technologies, Tech Data, and Strategy. And look forward to seeing you at the next episode of the Digital Dialogues on the 13th of July. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and do enjoy the rest of your day.